Hey guys, this is the Jose Show. Happy Thursday. I cannot believe that it is Thursday already. But anyways, guys, we have a lot of good stuff to talk about. So now let's get to it. Now let's talk about P. Diddy. So the investigation into Diddy is far from over, with sources telling TMZ at least one person has been subpoenaed to testify in front of the grand jury, and TMZ was told that others want to cooperate with federal prosecutors. So sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ two new people want to cooperate with the Fed's ongoing investigation of Diddy and are willing to testify in front of the grand jury in the coming days. So TMZ was told that one of these people is a current sex worker who claims they were involved with Diddy back in 2014. So beyond the grand jury investigation, TMZ was told the feds are still gathering info and interviewing witnesses, and our sources say they've reached out to at least one sex worker that TMZ knows of. Okay, so TMZ has been in contact with the sex worker who says they plan to be interviewed by feds in New York City later this month. This is really insane. I believe that it is a really good thing that P. Diddy is getting exposed, especially by the people that were involved with him, because the more that he is getting exposed, the more that he is being looked at as this monster. And by the way, he deserves to be looked at as this monster, because for years, unfortunately, many people saw him as this hero, as this good person, because unfortunately, all of the evil things that he did were kept in the dark. And by the way, he thought that all of these evil things were going to be kept in the dark. But guess what? In life, what you do will soon come to light. Okay, and I also believe here that now that he is heading to prison, he is trying to make himself look like he is the victim and that he is the good person, so that way he won't be able to get into prison. But guess what? None of that is going to be able to brainwash the freaking courthouse, because the courthouse already has their stuff and their documents about him, and also there's already witnesses being into the courthouse that are saying stuff about him that is not so good. And guess what? I believe that he is already crying right now. He is already regretting all of the things that he did in the past, probably because, hey, he's heading towards prison anyways. But yet again, none of that is going to convince the courthouse into having him out of prison at all. We are not above the law, ladies and gentlemen. We are definitely not above the law, especially somebody like P. Diddy, for example, okay? And also, I believe here that this situation that's going on here with P. Diddy getting arrested for all of the evil things that he did in the past towards these victims with racketeering, fraud, and drugs, and all of that other crap is a really good example that we are stepping forward into more justice in America. Because I believe that the more that we are able to prosecute and arrest these evil people, the more that we are able to get into more justice with America, and the more that we are actually becoming a nation that we should be, into uniting ourselves, into getting these people held accountable for their own damn actions. Okay, we are not keeping our mouth shut at all. We are not afraid to say how we feel by the evil people that are provoking us at all. We are tough enough into speaking out how we actually feel, even though these people are pissed enough that we are exposing them. Okay, the more that we are not afraid to speak out, the more that we are actually giving justice here, and the more, by the way, that we are actually putting ourselves in a safer position, by the way, because the more that we speak up, the more that we are actually putting ourselves out of the danger from the people like P. Diddy, for example. Okay, now I cannot wait for this trial to keep on continuing and continuing, because I really want to hear more on what other witnesses have to say. And I really want to know how this sentencing is going to be, by the way, because this is definitely going to be a very interesting sentencing and a very interesting case, by the way. Okay, but anyways, on to the next topic. Now, let's talk about Lady Gaga's dad, shall we? So, Lady Gaga's going to have to keep her poker face on during family dinners because her dad just endorsed Donald Trump despite her past support for Democrats. So, Jojo Minota, a New York City restaurateur, went on Fox News just minutes ago to throw his support behind the former president over Democratic opponent Kamala Harris, calling DJT pure and a patriot. Okay, so Germanotta says he thinks the whole concept of voting for people is a bit odd, but even though he admits he finds Donald J. Trump abrasive, he rattles off a series of Trump policies that align with his own views. When it comes to Kamala, Joe Germanotta says he can't understand what she's talking about when it comes to the economy, particularly focusing on her term opportunity economy and arguing people always have opportunities here. Okay, so Germanotta says New York City's being invaded, saying unsecured borders are allowing an influx of bad actors into the Big Apple. He says his longtime customers aren't coming into his restaurant as often because of the city's immigration problem. Okay, so Joe ends it by saying he endorses Trump's policies before thanking a familiar public figure for free speech. All right, so this is really insane. I do believe that in the family there will be somebody that will have different views compared to yours because let's be honest, your brother, your sister, your father, your mother can be so different compared to you because your family member could have not just different views but also different opinions on things, different interests on things. You being the same blood as that person doesn't really mean that you're going to have the same opinions and the same interests as that person. Okay? And I think that this guy, Joe Germanotta, who happens to be Lady Gaga's dad, supporting Donald Trump, to me is a huge disgrace, and at the same time it's respected because we should all respect people's political views at the end of the day. But it's a huge disgrace that he supports this man because let's remember that Donald Trump is not a nice guy and he just got convicted of 34 counts of fraud just not so long ago, and his sentencing is going to be in mid-November. And let's also remember that he, did a lot of violent, crazy stuff when he was in office. And I believe that that is something, by the way, that Joe Germanotta should focus on instead of just focusing on the things that he thinks about Donald J. Trump. And then for him to be saying that there are insecure borders these days that is letting a bunch of bad actors into the Big Apple, to me is really cheap of him to be saying that and very ridiculous because I believe that when it comes to a topic of border security, you're supposed to focus on if the person that is coming into the country is a good person, and if the person is also willing to better up the economy as well, because we also have to focus if those people are hardworking people. We should not focus if these people are good actors or bad actors, because I mean, yes, good actors do bring in the good money, let's be real, but I mean, it's not just about the actors, it's also about people working for grocery stores, people working for businesses, people working for libraries, schools, etc., etc. You don't necessarily have to be an actor or a good actor in order to make money into this country at all. So it's just so ridiculous how he's just focusing on people coming in from the border, and those people could be bad actors. Like, really? Really? So, anyways, I don't know how Lady Gaga is going to manage this relationship with her father, knowing that her father is supporting an opposite view from what she supports. But one thing that I can say though is, Lady Gaga's just gonna have to suck it up and be like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do. You support Trump, I support Kamala Harris. And the end. The end. All right, now on to the next topic. Now, let's talk about Derek Carr. So, Derek Carr's recent touchdown celebration was bad in the eyes of the NFL because the New Orleans Saints quarterback was just fined a solid chunk of change for channeling his inner Michael Jackson against the Dallas Cowboys. So, the pretty shocking moment considering the subject went down during the second quarter of the Saints routing of America's team in week 2 when number 4 executed a QB sneak to help put his squad up 35 to 13. So, once he reached the end zone, Carr did his best MJ impression, doing a leg kick and grabbing his junk before making his way back to the sidelines. While Carr wasn't penalized during the game for his antiques, the league reviewed the celly and determined it was too off the wall for its liking, hitting him with a $14,000 penalty. So Carr is known to be a goody two shoes, but hey, the guy has made just short of 200 million over the course of his career, so he can afford to act up every once in a while. So the Saints have certainly had a great start to the 2024-2025 season, and if they continue to build off their 2-0 start, perhaps there will be more Carr celebrations to come. Okay, so I believe that this is a bit of an exaggeration that Derek Carr is getting fined for touching his crotch in front of people. Because let's be honest, he's touching his own crotch. He's not touching other people's crotches. And also, he's not showing off his crotch either. So there's also that. I believe that these people really need to just give Derek Carr a chill. You know, they should just give him an off the hook, and that's it. Especially because he is celebrating a touchdown. And you know, when you are celebrating a touchdown, you get so crazy to the point that you will end up doing weird things. So that is something that the NFL needs to take into consideration. Okay, you cannot be ruining a person's happiness. And I also feel like there are worser things that people have done in the NFL and even outside of the NFL, like go off and touch other people's crotches, go off and murder, rape, and God knows what else. And those people deserve not just a freaking fine, also prison time. But this innocent guy that is just simply touching his own crotch, all because he is happy because he went off and got a touchdown, really, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, yes, it could be a bit uncomfortable having to watch a guy grab his crotch in front of us, but it's definitely not that big of a deal because at the end of the day, he's only grabbing his own damn crotch. Okay? Also, I believe that this guy doesn't even give a flip that he got fined anyways because I believe that he's gonna be like, okay, well, it's only $14,000 and I can afford it in the near future if I do it again anyways, so it's whatever. So anyways, at the end of the day, this is just something to laugh at and this is just a bunch of ridiculousness. Okay, but anywho, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of the Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.